Some kinds of tired don't go away when you sleep. Some kinds of tired wake up with you. Dana's alarm went off at 6:15. Same as every morning. She'd been in bed for 8 hours, but it didn't matter. Her body kept its own books, and by its accounting, she had barely rested at all. She sat on the edge of the bed longer than she meant to, not thinking about anything, just gathering what it was going to cost her to stand up. And then she stood up. That was the thing about Dana. She always stood up. The shower helped and hurt at the same time. Water too warm on skin that started a few years back, registering everything a little too loudly, like somebody had turned up the volume on her whole body and lost the remote. She had stopped trying to explain that to people. There wasn't a way to say it that didn't sound made up. She got dressed. She did her hair. She put on the face she wore to work. Not makeup, exactly. Something underneath the makeup. The one that said, "I'm fine." And at work, she was fine. Ask anybody. Dana showed up. Dana smiled. Dana kept pace. Nobody saw her pick her moments. Which errands could wait. Which stairs could be avoided. How to sit down without it looking like she needed to. She had gotten good at it. Years of practice will do that. In the 10 o'clock meeting, she lost a word. Just gone. Mid-sentence. Like a bird out an open window. She laughed it off, and everyone laughed with her, and nobody knew that it scared her a little every time it happened. That afternoon, she left early for the appointment she didn't talk about. On her way out, a coworker glanced up from his desk, friendly enough, not meaning anything by it. "Must be nice," he said. "You look fine to me. Wish I could cut out early." She smiled. She said something easy, and she carried it the whole way to the parking lot. "You look fine to me." She'd heard 100 versions of it, from coworkers, from friends, from doctors, for years from doctors, before one of them finally put a name to it. Maybe you're just tired. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's all in your head. By the time somebody believed her, she'd almost stopped believing herself. That evening, her phone buzzed. Her sister. "Dinner Friday? We miss you." Dana looked at that message a long time. Friday was 3 days out, and she already knew what her body would have left by Friday. She typed back something cheerful. "Can't this week. Swamped. Next time for sure." A lie with an exclamation point on it. She set the phone down on the cushion beside her, and then she just sat there. Not crying, not anything. Just sitting in the quiet with her hands in her lap, too spent to do anything else that evening. "Nobody believes what they can't see," she said to nobody. The lamp beside her hummed faintly, the only sound in the room. She watched the light for a little while before she finally got up. The next week, on a gray Tuesday morning, Dana stood at the pharmacy pickup counter and heard the words nobody waiting on a prescription wants to hear. "It'll be about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. She thought about leaving and coming back. But coming back cost energy too. And she had learned to spend hers like it was the last of a paycheck. So she took a seat in the little row of plastic chairs by the drop-off window. The ones nobody ever plans to sit in, and settled in to wait. There was a woman already sitting there, older, 60s maybe, with silver hair pulled back loose and a cane resting against her knee like it had every right to be there. She had the look of somebody who'd done this exact wait so many times she'd stopped counting. A few minutes passed. Then the woman spoke, not really turning her head, like she was commenting on the weather. 20 minutes, she said. They've been telling me 20 minutes once a month for 20 years. You'd think one of us would learn by now. Dana laughed. A real one. Small, but real. The kind that sneaks out before you decide to allow it. First time hearing it for me, Dana said. Well, first time this month. Oh, it grows on you, the woman said. Like most things you don't get a vote on. They sat a minute. The pharmacy hummed along behind the counter, phones ringing, paper bags rustling, somebody's name getting called that wasn't either of theirs. Ruth, the woman said, by way of introduction, tapping the cane lightly. Me and this thing have a standing appointment here. Rheumatoid arthritis. 20 years now. Dana. She hesitated, the way she always hesitated at this part. The part where she either said it or didn't. Fibromyalgia. About a year since anyone would put it on paper. Ruth nodded slowly. No wince, no head tilt. None of the faces people made. A year since the diagnosis, Ruth said. How long before that? Dana looked over at her. Long, she said quietly. Ruth nodded again, like that one word held a whole file she had read before. It usually is. Dana turned back toward the counter, but something in her head had shifted an inch. The way it does when you realize the person next to you isn't going to need convincing. You know what I've learned sitting in these chairs, Ruth said. You can spot it on people. The tired that sleep doesn't fix. Most people look right past it. But once you've carried it yourself, she shrugged, easy. You can't not see it. Dana didn't answer right away. Her eyes stung suddenly, and she blinked it back. Sorry, she said. It's just, nobody ever says it like that. Like it's a real thing. It's a real thing, all right, Ruth said. Plain as these plastic chairs. Realest thing in this whole store. Another name got called. Not theirs. The line shuffled forward, and the two of them stayed put in those plastic chairs. In no hurry now, just letting the wait run its course. Can I tell you the worst part? Dana said, surprising herself a little. It's not even the pain. I mean, it is, but it's not. Ruth waited. She was good at waiting. It's the performance, Dana said. Every day I get up and I do this impression of a fine person. Somebody who slept. Somebody who feels okay. Somebody who's got plenty left. And I'm good at it. That's the part that gets me. I'm so good at it that if I ever stopped, nobody would believe the real me. She shook her head. I'm not even sure when it happened. One day I was covering a bad morning, and now it's just who I am in public. I'm tired, Ruth, and I can't tell anymore if I'm tired from being sick or tired from pretending I'm not. Ruth let that set in the air a moment, gave it its weight. Both, she said finally. It's both. The second one's heavier most days, I know, because I carried it about 8 years before I put it down. How did you put it down? Ruth was quiet a second, not searching for words, more like deciding to hand over something she kept close. Can I tell you something? She said. It's from the Bible, and I promise it's not what you think it's going to be. Dana huffed a small laugh. Is it that obvious that I'm not a church person? Honey, I wasn't asking for your resume, Ruth said. I was just asking if I could say it. Go ahead. Ruth didn't reach for a phone or a book. She just said it, eyes forward, the way you'd say your own address. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly I will boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. The pharmacy went on being a pharmacy around them, but Dana had gone still. "Say the middle part again," she said. "My strength is made perfect in weakness." Dana sat with that. Her thumb moved slowly over the edge of her jacket sleeve, back and forth. "That's backwards," she said. The whole world runs the other direction." "It surely does," Ruth said, and there was something almost amused in it, and something not amused at all. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, and the man who wrote it wasn't having a good day either. "A bad day, huh?" Dana repeated. "Paul," Ruth said. "He had something wrong with him. Nobody agrees exactly what. Some kind of chronic thing that wouldn't leave him alone. He called it a thorn. Said it 3 separate times, plain as anything. He asked God to take it away 3 times. And God said no." Dana blinked. "That's the story? God just said no?" "That's the story," Ruth said. Not yet. Not, let me think about it. No. And then he told him why. That line I said. "My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness." Dana shook her head slowly. "I don't understand how that's supposed to be comforting. I've been praying for a year straight that this thing would just go. And you're telling me the answer might just be no?" "Might be," Ruth said. "It was for Paul. It's been no for me 20 years running. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it isn't. That's not what this verse is." "Then what is it?" Ruth turned in her chair just slightly, so she was looking at Dana instead of the counter. "It's not a promise that the pain leaves," she said. "It's a promise about where God shows up. He didn't say, 'Get strong and then come find me.' He said his strength gets made perfect, complete, whole, all the way finished, in weakness. Not around it, not despite it, in it." Dana was quiet, turning that over. "You've been treating weak like something you have to hide," Ruth went on. "Like a lie you're covering up so nobody catches you in it. But Paul didn't treat it that way. He treated it like an address, like, this is where I live now, and this is where God finds me. He even said he'd boast in it, brag about it." "That's insane," Dana said. "It sounded insane to me too," Ruth said. "For a long time I thought being a good Christian meant gritting my teeth through it and never letting on. Smiling in church with my hands aching so bad I couldn't hold the hymnal. I thought that was faith. Took me a long time to figure out that wasn't faith. That was just me doing your exact impression in a different building." Dana looked at her. "You did that too?" 8 years of it," Ruth said. "Long enough to get real good at it, same as you. But here's what I finally understood. He's not glad I hurt. That's not what this verse is saying. It's saying I don't have to earn my way to him by being strong first. The weakness isn't the disqualifying part. It's the doorway." Dana sat with that a long moment, arms crossed loosely, eyes somewhere past the counter. "I don't know if I believe that yet," she finally said, "but I want to." "That's usually where it starts," Ruth said. Dana's name got called before Ruth's. She stood and lingered a second by the plastic chairs. "Thank you," she said. I don't know really what to do with what you just told me, but thank you." "You don't have to know yet," Ruth said. "It sits fine on its own." Dana turned that verse over in her head the whole drive home. That night, she didn't say anything to anyone about it. She just went to bed early, tired in the old familiar way, and told herself she'd think about it tomorrow. Tomorrow came, and she didn't think about it. She got up, put the face on, went to work, kept pace. Old habits don't just leave because somebody hands you a new idea over a pharmacy counter. By Thursday, She'd said yes to covering a co-worker's shift on top of her own, because saying no still felt like a confession she wasn't ready to make. Friday evening, it caught up with her. Not gradually, all at once, the way it did sometimes. She got in the door and made it as far as the couch before her body simply stopped negotiating. Every joint, every muscle, a low continuous static she couldn't turn down. She lay there through the evening, through the news she wasn't watching, furious in the specific, exhausted way of someone who has no energy left for the anger. I did it again, she thought. I pushed until it broke, same as always. And somewhere in the static, uninvited, the verse came back to her. Not gently, more like it had been waiting. My strength is made perfect in weakness. I don't want to be weak, she said out loud to the ceiling. I want to be fine. I'm so tired of not being fine. The ceiling didn't answer, but the thought sat there anyway, patient, the way Ruth had been patient. She didn't go back to the pharmacy the following week. She went back 3 days later. No refill due, no real reason. And she knew it and went anyway. Ruth wasn't hard to find. She was in the same row of chairs like she half expected the visit. Back already? Ruth said, not surprised at all. I had a bad night, Dana said, sitting down without being asked. Actually, I've had a bad week. I pushed through Friday and it wrecked me the whole weekend, and I just sat there thinking about what you said, and I don't. She stopped, started again. I don't know how to stop performing. I've been doing it for so long, I don't know what's underneath. Ruth reached over and took her hand, plain, unhurried, no ceremony to it. Can I pray for you? She said, right here. Won't take long. Dana nodded. Ruth bowed her head, right there in the plastic chairs with the pharmacy going on around them. Lord, thank you for Dana. Thank you that you don't have to ask her to be strong before she comes to you. Meet her exactly as tired as she is today, not the version she performs, the real one. Let her believe that her weakness isn't something to hide from you or from anybody else. Let your strength be enough, even when hers runs out. In Jesus' name, amen. Dana wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, half laughing at herself for crying in a pharmacy. Ruth gave her hand a small squeeze before letting go. Here, she said, something to sit with. Where do you feel weakest? Really, actually weakest, not the polished version. Write it down tonight. Then ask God to meet you there, not somewhere stronger down the road, there, where you actually are. That night, Dana sat at her kitchen table with a blank page and Ruth's question in front of her. Where do you feel weakest? She almost wrote something safe, almost wrote, my body, and left it there. True, but shallow. Instead, she sat with it a long while and wrote something smaller and truer. I'm afraid if people see the real tired, they'll stop wanting to be around me. She looked at it for a while. Then, underneath, she wrote, He meets me here. Nothing shook. Nothing changed color. But something in her chest loosened half a turn. The changes that followed weren't dramatic. They were smaller than that. The kind of small that's easy to miss unless you're the one living it. She started resting before the crash instead of after it. 5 minutes with her feet up mid-afternoon that she used to skip out of guilt, now taken like medicine instead of an excuse. She kept a folded note in her bag, in her own handwriting, just in case a hard day needed reminding. His strength, not mine. That's the deal. She picked her sister's next invitation and, instead of a cheerful lie, sent something true. Honestly, today's a bad day. I can't do dinner out tonight, but I don't want to disappear on you either. Could we do something quiet this weekend instead? Just a couch and takeout? Her phone buzzed back almost immediately. Of course, I'd rather have you tired on my couch than not have you at all. Dana read that twice. Nobody had ran. The sky had, in fact, not fallen. The real test came that following Tuesday, the kind of day the performance used to run on autopilot. A coworker asked, in passing, not really expecting an answer, "How's it going?" And Dana felt the old script rise up first. Fine, good, busy, and for once, set it down. Honestly, she said, I'm running on empty today. A bit of a rough one. The coworker blinked, then just nodded. Rough days happen. Let me know if you need anything. And that was it. No drama, no pity, just an ordinary moment, unhidden, and nothing terrible followed it. That evening she wrote in the cheap notebook she started keeping by her bed. Nothing formal, just a few honest lines. The truth gets easier to write down the more you practice it. Weeks passed. The pain stayed exactly where it had always been. But so did she. Still showing up. Still standing up anyway. Same as her first morning at that pharmacy counter. What changed was smaller and somehow bigger. The rest she used to hide had a place now, out in the open. No performance required for either of them. And most weeks now, somewhere in there, a text came in from a number she had saved under Ruth. Nothing long, usually just a line. How's today treating you? Sometimes Dana answered honest. Sometimes she just sent back one word. Tired. Ruth never needed more than that to understand. One morning, ordinary, unremarkable, ache in her shoulder, same as always, Dana woke up and lay there a second before reaching for her phone, before reaching for anything. Old habit would have had her already halfway into the performance. Instead, she just breathed, let her body tell the truth of where it was that day, and said something plain and unhurried toward the ceiling. Okay, she said, I'm tired. You already knew that. Meet me here anyway. She got up at her own pace, not the pace the world expected of her, the pace she actually had. She made coffee slowly. She didn't put the face on, not really, just her own face, tired and honest and hers. She wasn't hiding anymore. That was the whole change, not less pain, less pretending. Her strength hadn't gotten bigger. She just stopped needing it to be because she had finally believed, really believed, that his was enough to stand in the gap when hers ran out. If Dana's story felt like your story, even a little, this is exactly why the Rooted and Grounded 30-Day Prayer Journal exists. Day 2, the same scripture and the same journal prompt Ruth gave her is in there waiting for you, along with 29 more days to help you keep walking it out. You can grab the free digital download using the link in the description. And if this story met you where you're at today, take a second to like this video. Share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And remember, you are enough. You're not alone, and you are loved.